Kat just being so enthralled by the fact that Tomas knew her favorite drink, saying that Tomas is the best because he knows my favorite drink. I mean, yeah, what a guy Tomas is. He only slept with her half-sister, but at least he knows her favorite drink. Like, give me a break. What's up, fellow Beyond the Gates viewers? Here to talk about today's Tuesday episode of the show. It was our New Year's Eve episode because the show is not on tomorrow because of college football. And I feel like for the foreseeable future, I'm going to have to sit here and say, well, at least the Anita storyline was on today because at least that's getting good writing. Because similar to yesterday, outside of Anita's cancer story unfolding, the rest of the show didn't really do much for me. So let's once again start with Anita. The problem with that being like the story that's getting the good writing, one of the only stories getting the good writing when Haley and Lynette and Bill aren't on, is that it's a hard watch. You know, even some of you in the comments already yesterday were saying you didn't watch the Anita stuff because it's a hard watch, and it is unfortunately going to continue to be a hard watch. Today they had to call their daughters in, Anita and Vernon did, calling Nicole and Dani. Dani started the episode with Andre. They were, of course, getting ready to go to one of the many New Year's Eve parties that were going on. Nicole was supposed to be meeting Carlton, and obviously that never happened. So later in the episode, Carlton was wondering why he was being stood up or feeling some kind of way about being stood up. Honestly, they saved us from those Nicole and Carlton scenes because I didn't really feel like watching their total platonic energy when they're trying to make them become lovers because they don't have it. Someone asked me in the comments yesterday if I felt that Nicole and Carlton are boring, and they are boring, but it's not that they're just boring together. They clearly just have platonic chemistry. There is no chemistry between those two as characters for me personally. Anyway, circling back to Anita's story, they come over, Dani, Andre, Nicole, and Anita has to tell her daughters that she has cancer. It's a very aggressive cancer. She needs to start chemotherapy tomorrow. She hates the timing of this news coming out on New Year's Eve to them, which is a really shitty way to end a year, for sure. But she needs to tell them now because chemo's starting tomorrow. They're hoping to shrink the tumor so that they can remove it. And of course, Dani and Nicole are upset. And she also tells Dani and Nicole about the genetic test with this cancer and how they have a 50% chance of getting it. And their children have a 50% chance of getting it. So Nicole's going to have to break this news to Kat and even Martin. And because Martin has the gene too, even though he's a guy. And Dani, of course, is going to have to tell Chelsea and Naomi. Vernon and Andre had a good talk too. Andre saying he will be there to help Vernon during this tough time. He's going to be there for the whole family. Andre continues to be a really stand-up guy as of late. He continues to do a good job of being one of the bigger baby faces on the show. And then even afterwards, when Dani and Nicole leave to go back to Dani's house, Andre's there to comfort both of them. That's when Nicole realized she stood Carlton up. And that's when Dani realizes she wants to talk to Bill about their daughters having the possibility of getting cancer in the future because of this gene. Andre looked a little upset that Dani wants to call Bill first. I don't know if Bill really needs to be there for that conversation with Chelsea and Naomi. I think Dani could do it herself, but I guess why not call Bill in on it too? But they are still playing up that layering between Dani and Bill's past, and what will that mean for Andre and Dani's future? Maybe one day we'll find out if this story ever starts moving quicker with the whole Bill being poisoned stuff. Outside of Anita's storyline, I didn't really feel like the rest of the episode did much for me. I didn't mind the Ted and Chenise stuff. I'm still not sold on them as a couple. A lot of you have brought up a lot of great points last week because the Ted characters were in like a fool and a dummy and just he kind of ain't shit basically. So people want better for Chenise. The thing with Chenise is that the actress has a good job of bringing chemistry out of people, and there's a little something there. I can still get on board. I don't know how many of you are gung-ho about Ted and Chenise though. Today, Leslie, of course, ended up interrupting Ted and Chenise at the hospital because Leslie wanted to talk to Ted, and Leslie was still being shady towards Chenise because Leslie has seen Ted and Chenise getting closer, and of course, she doesn't like that. Leslie was once again talking about her damn free clinic and the Leslie Thomas outreach program where she's trying to put her name out there like she's just this great citizen. She wants Ted to be in charge of the committee members for her project. Ted didn't seem too gung-ho about that. Ted also gave Leslie some crap for jumping to the wrong conclusion with Vernon and Sharon saying they were having an affair. So I guess I'm at least glad that Ted got to tell Leslie she was wrong. Still would have rather have seen the Dani and Nicole scenes talking about that yesterday, like some of you pointed out. Ted did reject hanging out with Leslie for the new year, and I do like that they seem to be keeping Leslie in Ted's orbit because I feel like they have to. I don't necessarily like that we still are going to have to see Leslie obsessed with Ted, but they have to keep something about Leslie's character consistent, and that's been the only motivation she's had this entire time, is that she is obsessed with Ted. So she should continue to feel some kind of way about Ted moving on with Chenise, because that just makes sense from a character perspective. Then, of course, Ted and Chenise run into each other at Orphe Jeans. Chenise ordering black eyed peas because they're apparently good luck for New Year's, going into the New Year's. I just learned some of that yesterday or a few days ago from my girlfriend about these good luck foods for New Year's. So that's what Chenise was trying to have for her future in 2026. They were talking about their fears again, and Chenise wants Ted to open up about his real fears. Ted said his real fear came to life when his pack mistake came back to ruin his life. That's obviously true. Chenise was trying to make Ted feel better about his future. We do learn that Ted's going to be getting like a place to live and not be staying at the hotel anymore, so that's a positive. And then at midnight, they end up kissing, so I still would have liked this to be more of a slow burn for the two characters, more of a friends to lovers storyline. That would have worked better for me personally. So I'm still not totally on board with the Ted and Chenise pairing. I don't know how the rest of y'all feel, but you can tell me in the comments. Also, last week, like I said, more and more viewers for these Beyond the Gates videos each week, and yet only 30% of y'all are subscribed to me. I think it went up a little bit. It's like 32% now that are subscribed to the channel. So please subscribe to the channel if you're still watching this video. But now I got to move on to my negativities about this episode. We might as well start with Joey and the failed character we know as Vanessa out together in public, showing themselves off in public, just like Vanessa wanted. They ran into Nicole at the beginning. Nicole was not very happy to see them together. I think Joey and Vanessa scenes are like the worst scenes the show is putting on now. They are the new Ashley and Derek, who, by the way, Ashley was in this episode too, celebrating. And of course, Ashley had to run into Derek and his new cane. I guess the show has decided to keep them as friends. They wasted our time all year for them to have some dramatic breakup, only for them to stay friendly with each other. They continue to be a waste of our time. But I feel similar to Vanessa these days because I do see her as a failed character. We did get some talk out of Joey about how when his marriage failed, he said he would never put his guard down with a woman again. But here's Vanessa, and he's putting his guard down. Without his ex coming to town, it's about the only thing that could maybe get me back interested in this Joey and Vanessa shit. There was something interesting towards the end when Leslie was not at all happy to see Vanessa and Joey together. I don't know what that exactly was about. Maybe that was the show hinting that they are going to keep Leslie in Joey's orbit. Then she got a text from Marcel to meet up, so, Leslie still might get her some for New Year's Eve at least. Other characters in this episode that weren't really exactly bringing great television, but Naomi met up with Chelsea and Madison. I mean, I guess it was good to see Chelsea and Madison together on screen as a couple, which doesn't happen often anymore. They got to party. They still have no real storyline, though. Kat and Tomas were there, and this was probably one of the most annoying things about the episode. Kat just being so enthralled by the fact that Tomas knew her favorite drink, saying that Tomas is the best because he knows my favorite drink. I mean, yeah, what a guy Tomas is. He only slept with her half-sister, but at least he knows her favorite drink. Like, give me a break. This writing for Kat sucks so hard. Like, they have forced this Kat and Tomas relationship that didn't work from jump. They wrote it where Tomas was shit the whole time. And now they seem to be trying to write it that Tomas is a good guy to everyone. Everyone sees him as a good guy, including Kat. Doesn't make a lick of sense. Maybe if they wrote it as Kat in denial about their relationship, even though he's still being a trifling loser, it would maybe make more sense. But now they just seem to be trying to double down on the Tomas character because the show refuses to give up on anyone. They refuse to pivot and cut the dead weight. Ashley, Tomas, Derek, all should be off the show. They're a waste of our time and they suck. And then we get singing by Kenny Lattimore, which this show has an obsession with having singing at events. We had singing at Winterfest. We had Vernon singing on Christmas, although that was very cute, but at least that was like character related. We have another singer today. And to me, it's like, remember when this show actually had vision? Remember when this show had a focus? At least most of the storylines had a focus. Right now, most of these storylines don't have a focus outside of Anita's cancer and occasionally the Haley, Bill, Dani, Andre stuff. Every other storyline seems visionless to me. And today was yet another example of that. They have these events, and on soap operas in the past, when they used to have many events, that meant we were building to something dramatic because everyone's going to be around. That's where secrets get revealed. That's where someone gets murdered or something. Give us something, but they're giving us all these events with singing, and that's boring. So it's actually just lazy. I think it's lazy writing to just give us singing for these events because they don't want to put effort into building to more dramatic storylines. So yeah, this is our last episode of the year. Technically, the last episode of season 1 is Thursday, but we are limping into the new year where the writing is concerned on Beyond the Gates.